It's fast. It is fun. Welcome to Awesome Affordable Cars, the series where I show you a vehicle that you probably want to buy but might not be able to afford yet, and then put a spotlight on its budget alternative that does pretty much exactly the same thing but at a fraction of the price. To kick things off, let's start with some Italian spice. This is an Alfa Romeo 156 GTA. It's an Italian four-door sports saloon with beauty and brawn, and on the right road it's an absolute blast to drive. It sounds good too, and inside you'll find sculpted seats, a 6-speed manual gearbox, and a speedometer that goes up to 200 miles an hour, which is a nice number to aim for on a really steep downward slope. Because it obviously won't do 200 miles an hour, but it will do 155 miles an hour, and that is thanks to the best thing about this particular car, the 3.2-litre V6 Busso, the prettiest engine ever fitted to a production vehicle. And it's strong too, producing 250 horsepower and 221 pounds-foot of torque to get this 1.4-ton Alfa to 60 miles an hour in just 6.1 seconds. But the numbers really don't do this car justice, because despite being front-wheel drive, it's engaging, a massive amount of fun, and achieves something very few cars could ever dream of. It makes your face ache, because every time I drive this thing, it makes me so happy I just can't help but smile. It is just so wicked. Front-wheel drive shouldn't be this engaging, this exhilarating, and this much fun, but this one very much is. It is, to me at least, because this is my actual 156 GTA, the perfect antidote to mundane daily drivers that a lot of us settle for when we get real jobs or start to expand our families. But there is one big problem, and that's the price tag. In fact, a car like this with low mileage and a few nice bits on it will set you back about £10,000. So what do you do if you want a car with a manual gearbox, V6 and a bit of flair? Easy. You look closer to home. And this is it, the MG ZS180 that's a great cut-price alternative to the expensive Alfa. Just like the GTA, it's quick enough to put a smile on your face, is pleasing to look at, and despite what you might think from a British manufacturer, is actually a lot of fun to drive. And that is because under the bonnet of this very car, you will also find a V6 motor. However, where in the Alfa Romeo you get 3.2 litres, this car makes do, and I say makes do, with 2.5 litres. The reason I've done that as a caveat is because this car is also 200 kilos lighter than the 156 GTA. So in the real world, while it doesn't have quite as much grunt, it actually feels just as fast. That 2.5 litre V6 produces a not inconsiderate 180 horsepower, which is why this car is also called the MG ZS180, that gives it a 0 to 60 time of 7.3 seconds and a top speed of 139. So we've gone through some of the specs, and yes, we know it's not as fast and the engine isn't quite as beautiful, the car probably doesn't look as pretty to many people, but what is a £2,000 V6 powered car like this like to drive? Well, I'm on a country road, third gear, pin the throttle, engine sounds great, exhaust sounds pretty decent as well, steering is very light, much lighter in fact than the Alfa 156, pedal weight's also a lot lighter, braking potential feels pretty good. But I do love that V6 noise. And speaking of things sounding good, here is another one. It's called Carly, and it helps you keep on top of your vehicle's health, as well as enabling you to unlock hidden features that it might have. And using Carly couldn't be easier. Simply plug the scanner into the OBD2 port, open the app, and Carly will reveal all. I've been using Carly for years on personal cars and cars that I wanted to buy, and to show you guys how it works, I've plugged Carly into the OBD2 port of this car. So let's start off by running a health check. As you can see in the Carly health check, we only have two issues. One is the driver mirror, one is air conditioning. So the health of this vehicle is very, very good. Airbag, central chassis, engine, instrument cluster, lights, all have got green little lights here. So happy days. Speaking of which, let me now show you those hidden features that we can unlock on a car like this. All it takes is a few taps in the app to get to Carly's coding menus. And as you can see, there's plenty to explore. And because this is now a pretty old car, one of my favorite features to unlock is double flashing hazard lights, because let's face it, the inevitable will happen. Much better. And if this car had them, you can fold in the electric mirrors with a push of the lock button. So if you want to take back control of your car and unlock its awesome hidden features, then Carly is the tool for you. What's more, you'll get 15% off at checkout using the code AutoAlex. And please remember, this is an annual subscription with loads of benefits. But if you don't need it anymore, then you can drop Carly an email or cancel straight on your smartphone settings, depending on where you subscribe from. If, like us, however, you like working on a car and checking a vehicle's health regularly, then Carly is definitely one to keep in the glove box. The funny thing about this car is everything in the cabin, including the way it steers, feels really cheap. The plastics are actually pretty nasty. The steering feel is really light. Everything just feels a little bit rattly. However, the engine and gearbox feel really, really, really robust. If this engine and gearbox was in the Alfa, I wouldn't be disappointed. And I guess that's what makes this car so brilliant, because MG did away with fancy leathers, fancy plastics to make a car that was actually engaging to drive, fun to drive, and also pretty quick. And that torque from the V6 is not bad. Third gear pull is really nice. It's a fun car. And that's no surprise, because the ZS was a car that simply had to deliver the goods. You see, MG Rover Group was hastily founded in the year 2000 after BMW sold the car-making and engine manufacturing assets of the original Rover Group to Phoenix Venture Holdings, a holding company that dissolved in 2006. And with Rover prototypes of a V6-powered 400 series already made, MG Rover hit the ground running and continued that car's development, tweaking the ride, handling, steering and design to create a car that was largely praised by the UK's motoring press. Is it 156 GTA fun? Not quite, because it doesn't feel quite as rapid, quite as urgent, but it handles really well. The front end feels really dialed into the road. It's a fun car to drive quickly on a B road, and for less than £2,000, you can get yourself into one of these. This one, owned by a friend that you're going to meet very, very soon, has done 108,000 miles. The interior looks to be in pretty good nick, and for under £2,000, I'd be so happy driving something like this. This is, and I'm going to say it, a fantastic alternative to the Alfa 156 GTA. And the other thing that I really love about this car is I've just looked in the rearview mirror and I can just see a great big dirty wing. It's just funny, it's a bit raucous, and I know that this is a car that if I put it on the Autobahn, it would probably do 140 miles an hour all day and not even break a sweat. Yeah, just throw a good set of tyres on this, get some coilovers, get a zingy exhaust, and you've got an awesome daily drivable B-road blaster that you can also take on a track. Yeah, MG ZS180, I'm a big fan. So if an MG ZS180 is something you like the sound of, then listen up to the next bit, because the man who owns this very car has owned 15 of them. It's Robin, everyone. You're right, what are you doing in there?
Can you let me out?
Do you want to get out?
Yeah,
sorry.
It smells of poo.
Oh, you've left a right state.
That's a big old pile, I tell you.
Yeah, right. Anyway, Robin, like I said, you have owned 15 of these ZS's. Why?
Well, I buy one and it's cheap, and then I'll do it up a bit, and then I'll drive it like a lunatic, get scared, and sell it. This one is staying. I've got to keep this one because they're now getting to a point where we can't really afford to buy another one. You can pick an absolute crapper up for about £1,000, and it'll just about run and drive. You can get a really, really immaculate example for about
£4,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that you wouldn't want to pay any more than that realistically at the moment. They may go up more in the future because they are rare, but that's more than enough.
Okay, and speak to me about the ownership experience. We've obviously got a 2.5 V6 front-wheel drive, manual gearbox. Pretty good looks. I think it's quite a good-looking car. But what is it like as a daily driver? Reliability, all those types of things.
So reliability is surprisingly good. Insert Rover head gasket joke here. The KV6 isn't known for the head gasket issues. They do have problems with the inlet manifolds. They have a valved intake system that kind of changes the length of the manifold, and those can go wrong. But there's chaps on the forums that make replacement units which are readily available. Overall reliability is pretty good. You don't tend to get many issues with them other than just normal car problems.
Okay.
There is a lack of some parts. So crankshaft sensors, which can go wrong, they are no longer available at all anywhere. They're very, very difficult to get hold of. There's a couple of other bits and bobs like gearbox diff bearings, they can go, but it's not hard to pick up a completely rebuilt gearbox from a chap called Andrew Gota. Rust.
Yeah, do they like to rust?
They like to rust, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Thankfully, you can now get weld-in repair panels which are being pressed and made specifically for this as an aftermarket part by Scott at Discount MG Rover Spares.
So picture the scene. You're a man. This is the car that you want.
Yeah.
You've seen it for the first time. What are you looking for?
I'm going straight underneath and I'm looking at the front jacking points. I'm going to go and check the rear ends of the sills. I'm going to listen for a rattle in the intake manifold. I'm going to make sure the engine mounts aren't too wobbly, and just generally health check it, make sure the oil is nice and clean. The KV6 is known for gunking up quite a lot.
And final question, Robin, to anyone watching right now, yes, you, thinking, oh, I'm quite tempted, but I'm not sure. Got to ask the missus. What do you say to that?
Look, you can pick up a cheap one. It's got 4 seats. It's got a couple of airbags. Does 35 to the gallon. What would you want, really?
So it's a wise investment.
Yeah, it's a good investment. They're definitely going up in value big time.
And Robin, before we go, Alfa Romeo 156 GTA
Yeah.
and your ZS180, is this a good budget alternative for that car?
This is a cracking budget alternative. It's, I said, just as much fun. There's a little bit less power. Fat bum on it though.
It is, yeah. It's also 200 kilos lighter. And yeah, you're right. This is a quarter of the price of that.
It is a quarter of the price.
Is this 4 times as good, 4 times as fun? I would be super happy with this if I could only afford £2,000. So yeah. Hold out your hand. I'll give you 1,500 quid. There we go. Deal done. Thanks.
Where are my keys?
So with all of this undeniable evidence that the MG ZS180 is not only a fun car to drive and own, as well as it being a good budget alternative to an Alfa 156 GTA, now is definitely the time to pull the trigger and search out this left field alternative to the mundane choices many of us settle for. And if you're still not convinced, then just know that YouTube's most sensible car man owns one too. So if it's good enough for him, it's most certainly worth a closer look.